You guys want to see the progress on the wolf enclosure? What's cool about the wolf enclosure is every time you guys see it, there's going to be a lot of progress because we are moving fast. We're moving real fast. We have a call today with an organization that is potentially going to be very, very, very gracious and allow us to send Kayla out there for some training that has wolves, so she can go learn about their husbandry and their training and all of their enclosures and facility and stuff like that. We have a call today to talk to them. That'll be very, very nice. None of that'll be streamed, obviously. This is just like a facility we were put in contact with that's being really nice and letting us do that for the wolves, you know, because they know that we want to do right by them. Are the other projects on hold until the wolves? Pretty much. I mean, we always have a lot of stuff going on, but Push Pop's enclosure is on hold with the wolves because Push Pop is here and gets to get out and stuff like that, and she's not growing very fast, obviously, so she's okay in her temporary terrarium, but the wolves need to get out of, we need to get them here. Ow! That actually hurt. Why did that hurt? Is there something in here? It's empty. I swear to God that actually hurt. I don't know why. Are there any major safety changes, like can keepers go into the enclosures at all? No, the wolves will be entirely protected contact, which means that we'll never be in the enclosure with them. Everything will be done through a fence or through a barrier. Oh, you know what I haven't told you guys about that I need to tell you about? Check this out. I wish I could throw shit at my boss. You're right, you should remind Connor. But that's a reality most don't have the luxury of. Alveus staff is composting now. This is a composting tumbler. So we have food scraps and stuff on this side and some cardboard. And you can rotate it to aerate it to help it decompose faster. And then after a few months, after it's been in here for a few months, then you transfer it to this container and you just leave it be, and it like bakes in here. And the heat that it builds up as it's decomposing kills the bacteria and makes soil. So we can use it for our pollinator garden. Very cool for, okay. Let me remind you, most people can't shut the door on their boss. It'll be cool. So then we can use that soil for our pollinator garden and, you know, make good use of our food waste, our organic food waste. I do want to do more. I'm going to do more education than that on composting. I need to do all the right research and know what I'm talking about before I advertise composting to the world. I know that it's a good thing. I just don't know how to explain it all yet. So I will be doing more programs on composting as I figure it out and I learn about that composter and all that. How will the wolf enclosure be cleaned if it's protected contact? So it'll be sectioned into two sections, the enclosure. So we'll move them into one section to clean half of it. It's more than half, actually. There's a smaller section. Wow, thank you for the 5, Moss. They'll get moved into a section, so we clean one and then swapped. We'll clean the other, you know? Aren't you an ag major? Yeah, I am. That doesn't mean that I know everything about composting and making soil. I took one soil science course. Okay, questions about the wolves, lots. Why are the wolves protected contact? Is it too dangerous? Yeah, you know, they're just large, potentially dangerous animals where the risk is just too high for staff to be working with them. Free contact. Will the wolf enclosure be closed from the top or no? No, it's open air. So just fence around, tall fence. We do have to bury wire. Are there health issues with the wolves? Not that we know of at the moment. We just know that they're older. We haven't been informed of any like specific health issues. They are non-releasable. These wolves are hybrid. They're 70 to 80% content. So they're not releasable into the wild. They're born in captivity. And they've been in captivity their whole lives. It's about 10 years. They're about 10 years old. Are you not going to do any training through the fence? That we do want to do training, protected contact training. For husbandry behaviors, for blood draws, for looking at them, looking at their eyes, looking at any discharge. But it's going to be a slow process and obviously dependent on whatever the wolves are comfortable with. How big will their space be? This is their space. It's 220 feet by 65 feet. So it goes to like where that white truck is down there, a little past it. Yeah, it's pretty big. What's the difference between these wolves and those you were in the enclosure with at the Wolf Conservation Center? So one, Wolf Conservation Center has no hybrids. They only have full wolves. And some of their wolves, so they have a few ambassadors. I was in with Silas, who was a pup and an ambassador. So he was a baby and being raised to do education. But they don't do free contact with those ambassadors. I don't think at that facility once they're adults. Or maybe a couple of them do. Or a couple of the staff do. And what else is different? These wolves, we don't know their history, and they're 10 years old, and we know that they're afraid of people. So it would just be a much greater risk to go in there with them. Protected contact just means between a barrier. Can they get enrichment in this non-contact way? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They'll get enrichment just like all of our other ambassadors do. And it'll be put in the enclosure when they're switched on the other side, and then vice versa. They will get enrichment. Is there a roofed section for bad weather? Yeah. This space over here that we were just standing in, it's marked off. This is the corner. These two strings is a building, and it goes over there. It's like 30 feet by 20 feet. It's an insulated building, and it'll be fully covered. They'll have AC and heat in there also if they'd like to escape the weather, the temperature. Do you have a price for the enclosure yet? We do not have a full quote, but our fencing quote is, I think it's at 95 grand just for the fencing. There's a lot of regulations. It's all double fenced too, so it's twice as much fencing as you think because it's fenced on the outside and the inside, and it has to be very tall. And we shopped around for a lot of quotes. We did as much cutting as we could. We're also on a timeline because we're trying to get them moved here as fast as possible. And into this enclosure as fast as possible, a little bit more. But yeah, it is a massive, massive project. The fox enclosure was 48 grand that Cutie fundraised for, and for reference, the wolf enclosure is about 11 fox enclosures in size. So it's up there, yeah. How will they receive vet care if they can't be touched directly? It depends. So the dream is that we can do some vet procedures without them getting sedated, just like all the other animals that we have here, right? Like we want to be able to crate them voluntarily and then have them see the vet. We want them to be able to hold out their foot so a vet can look at it and not have to sedate them and have them not be stressed. If we have an emergency vet procedure and we're not there yet in training, then they will have to be sedated if a vet is seeing them. But we will see. We will see. Are there plans for more infrastructure in the crow enclosure like the parrot enclosure? No, the crows don't like, I saw someone say this in chat yesterday, the crows don't like trees and branches the same way that the parrots do. They do have a tree in there with branches, but they prefer turf and platforms and being really up high. So it'd be cool to add more like perching to the crows as we go forward, but they wouldn't use trees like the parrots. The parrots look way more busy because that's how they like it. What will they eat? Also a good question. Probably a combination of a formulated kibble and a raw diet. We don't want to have them on an entirely raw diet. I'm not sure that that's feasible, but we do want to provide that for them. We're going to learn a lot more about their diets, I think, when Kayla goes and gets more training and we do all the research and when we figure out what they're eating right now. I'm not sure what their current diet is. I have asked those questions. We're waiting to hear back. Can you give them a construction update on what you guys are doing here? Hooray!
We're laying pipe.
Yeah!
There goes Connor.
Where did he come? That was crazy.
He's weird.
Did you come from the UTV?
No, he just came sprinting from the studio.
Oh my god, that was such a trip.
He's got a Red Bull in his hand. He's got too much energy. So we're putting pipe in for power, water, and Ethernet / fiber. So this is going to be the 30 by 30 section that I'm sure she's already showed you. And all this pipe is being laid going all the way down to the end of the enclosure and then cutting in so the cameras can be powered / have Ethernet. that's pretty much where we're at right now. You can see all the holes around too. So those are all the post holes for the fence, for the interior fence.
Nick dug them out with a coconut.
With a coconut. It's pretty wild.
Half a coconut. Got in there, scooped it out.
It works. It works. And then the next phase, hopefully it doesn't rain tomorrow, but it probably will. We'll be digging post holes for the exterior fence, which aren't going to be as close together, but still just as hard because of all the rocks.
Hello, Connor.
Thank you.
Connor, do you have anything to add? I know you didn't hear what Nick just said, but...
I just told them all over what's happening right now. All the holes, all the trenches.
Boys are going to lay some major pipe today.
Why do the Wolves need Ethernet? Do they have corporate jobs? For the cams? That's why.
Yeah, they play games. They're going to have state-of-the-art PCs in the enclosure. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be great. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I will share the Wolves story, a lot more about the Wolves story, where they're coming from, and the timeline once they're here. We'll talk all about that when they get here. Murphy's dog, thank you. It's 2 wolves. Their names are Awa and Timber. Actually, Space, are you watching right now? Oh, contractors are coming out. Could you, you wanna, let's put their pictures on screen. I'll go to the studio because I want to see them. I didn't show pictures on my stream, so it's a bit of a leak. Let me search dog in my my iPhone photos and see if it puts them in there. Oh, you tell them about Axis. Here.
Okay, so Axis came in yesterday, their rep, and gave us over $5,000 of cameras for the wolf enclosure. And these are all donated, yes. They're all last gen cameras, but they're still going to work great. And that's why they're able to donate them to us. This is the last gen pasture camera. The only difference, it doesn't have IR in it. It's an older chipset, but it's exactly what we need. Absolutely fantastic. Love Axis so much. Over here. I'm so good, Maya. Oh.
Wow! Is that the pasture cam?
It's the last generation of the pasture cam.
Wow!
So it's pretty close. It just doesn't have IR on it. So, like illuminators, but it can see IR. And then Raytech is an IR illumination company that I use their stuff pretty much exclusively for my cam installs. And they're donating us $2,000 worth of IR illuminators for the wolves as well. They just kind of happen. Like, we didn't like go out asking for it, except for like Axis. They kind of offered beforehand, but it all works out. They're great.
So cool. So nice. So cool. Space, you have them? Are you guys ready to see the wolves? An Alveus Sanctuary stream exclusive. Let's see them. Ta-da! Hold on, I'm waiting to see it. They are both adults. They're both 10 years old. Okay, you're looking at Awa right now. That's Awa.
What does Awa mean?
I don't know. And that's Timber. Who's who? This is Timber. And this is Awa. I think I did that right.
No, well, you pointed off screen. Yep.
This is Timber. And this is Awa.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Space can just put text on screen. Yes, Timber is the lighter one. I feel like I made this very clear. I feel like it's already very clear, but Space is gonna put names on screen anyway. They can live up to 17 years in human care. So that's the dream, that they're 10 years old right now and they'll live to be like 17. That would be amazing. But also we don't know their history. And we don't know if they have other underlying health issues. So we will see. They are considered geriatric at this point. They're 10 years old.
So Ella is very much invested in landscaping it out. So she sent me a recommendation list.
Cool.
So we want to plant 3 American sycamore trees, 5 red oaks, Texas red oaks, and she wants to get a bunch of Texas sage bushes as well to help build that out. And then we purchased a Blacklands Prairie Mix seed that's going to go in there as well. So
Exciting.
It's going to be nice and lush and green, and this grass will definitely grow this time.
Surely. Someone just said Awa in Arabic means night, so it might have translation in a lot of languages. You could also, I wonder if that means anything in Japanese.